Okay, so hi YouTube or internets or whatever. Um, I decided to make a video because I felt like it was useful for people to know, but I'm going to share with you my experiences here of how I found out my iPhone was not legit. Give you a little backstory. Bought an iPhone 6 Plus. I don't even know how long ago. April of 2015 ish. It's now October 7th, and my phone was awesome when I had it. Loved it, great, woohoo. Had an accident, dropped it, of all places, not just in the kitchen, the bedroom. I dropped it on the street, face down, completely mangled the glass. Absolutely. So my bad. Luckily, had the insurance plan through AT&T, got the insurance all done up, paid my deductible of $100 or whatever it may be. Got that taken care of, and they sent me out a new phone. The phone, I mean, it looked kind of funny, and you'll see what I'm talking about here in just a minute. But they sent me a phone. This was 6 months ago. 2 nights ago, the phone started reacting very strangely. The LCD started glitching at the top of the screen, started flickering with vertical lines. Didn't go the entire span of the phone, but it definitely went part of the way down. Sometimes it make the whole screen flash, that kind of thing. But and part of that also the touch reactivity of it, just being able to touch the screen, doing things like uh, sliding your phone, choosing apps, any kind of interaction with it using the screen was completely dead, which the part itself is called the digitizer, if you didn't know that. So the digitizer, I could tell, was dead. The screen was having a bad connection. I couldn't tell if this was a cable problem, a whatever. Either way, I wasn't opening the phone up because I'm trying to play legit until everything's fully expired on it or paid off. So, um, took it to AT&T. Once you get to AT&T, they say they have no involvement with the insurance company, which is called Assurion. The They recommended I go to Apple. So then I go to Apple. They say they could take a look at it, be an hour and a half, but they would have to do that. So I said, okay, sure, yeah, whatever. Set an appointment for me. I'll wait around. Go back to AT&T. Tell them that basically they're gonna have to replace the device, which is what Apple told me. And so I started to talk with AT&T about getting a new phone, which I ended up doing. But you're getting ahead of the story. Hang on. Ended up talking to them, tried to get an iPhone 7 Plus because if I'm going to upgrade, I want the same phone. Um, they didn't have it. They recommended I go back to Apple. Well, right about the same time, Apple buzzed me on my phone, even though I couldn't really see it, and said, you're you need to get your ass here. So I'll go back over to Apple. They take a look at my phone, and that's when the tech, after doing some diagnostics, one told me that my screen was uh, it wasn't reacting properly. And at the same point, he said that he believed the logic board or the guts of the phone were not operating properly anymore. And their initial assessment would be to completely replace the device, anyways. So, with that being said, he also pointed out a couple flaws, and these are those flaws. This is my iPhone 6 Plus, and one thing I want you to focus on right here is the IMEI number. And the reason why I have Photoshop open is so I can move around and kind of circle and highlight stuff. So one of the things that you're going to see, and I have original examples as well, so I'm going to show you those, is right here. Now, normally with the iPhones, you can look on yours if you have one, if it's legit. There's a colon or a semicolon or whatever, the one with two dots. Okay, I'm a programmer. I should know this. I don't. But yeah, there should be a colon here, and there isn't. There isn't one, which is, I mean, in all essence, if this is truly a fake, which after you see the rest of it, you'll pretty much get the point of what I'm making here. Um, it's really, really good, but I've heard of horror stories when it comes to Assurion or Assurant, which is a different company for a different carrier. But you pointed out that there's no semicolon here, and 9 times out of 10, this is where they screw up big, is this area. in the actual phone. So that was definitely, he said, a dead giveaway, as well as some other ones. So I did get a picture of my brother's iPhone 6, not a Plus, but it's enough to give a comparison, and that is here. Now, if we zoom in on this one, you could see it's very pronounced. It's obvious right there and right there, and you can't miss it. Um, yeah. So I mean, it's clear. There's a colon, semicolon, whatever it is, right there. And when you come back here, there is none. And I know some people out there are gonna be like, "Well, there's a dot and another dot." Well, either way, it's obviously a defect, and Apple does not have that kind of defect. I promise you. They're retentive when it comes to detail. Um, okay, so on to the next point, and that is the gaps in the chassis. Now, I know this looks very poor, but you could tell in the seams of this that there's a small gap in the chassis itself. Now, mind you, this phone, since I had it for 6 months, lived in a OtterBox Defender, and that is the massive case that's three pieces. It's got the rubber outside, and then it's got the two clipping plastic chassis that go around it. I mean, it makes this thing like 10% larger, but for the sake of not having my phone completely disintegrate the next time I drop it on the concrete, I went and spent 40, $50 on a decent case, and it worked. I mean, the phone is still brand freaking new, but these seams here, you can tell, are definitely there. And I can tell you right now, if Apple were to make something like this, they would have a lynch mob, because you're spending $600 on a device that's meant to be high quality, and this is what it is. Now, again, I don't think this is truly Apple. I think this is a really good reproduction, third-party piece, and I'll show you more about why I think that here in just a second. So, number two, the seams. Again, I have a comparison again on a 6, not a 6 Plus, but you can look at your iPhones as just as well, and you can tell that even with the blurriness, you can't, there's no seam here. There's no dark spots. There's no bulging. There's no nothing. It's flat. It is flat, 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 flat. Even in the focus area, you can tell. And I can go back here, and I can look down. It's just, this is, shit. But yeah, so big difference there too. This one, I think, if this is the one I'm thinking it is, this one's my favorite. Then you have the logo. The logo on the back, I swear, it's not, mostly the logos on the back of original iPhones, they're like an etch of, whether it be laser etching or chemical etching or something like it is built into the phone. This is on my iPhone 6 Plus, and as you can tell, there's an edge here, or it looks kind of recessed. This is definitely, when you rub your fingernail across it, you could probably pop it off. I'm not going to, because I'm trying not to get the whole quote-unquote physical damage, but I'll get to that in a minute. But this is on my 6 Plus, the fake, what I believe is fake parts. And then in comparison, here's a 6. So same color, everything. And as you can tell, this one is on the device. This one's flat. This one has nothing. This one has a clear edge on both sides. Yeah. So with that one, I mean, that one's pretty easy to see. The color looks a little bit different, but that's not one of my. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but it looks a little different. But that could just simply be lighting. The next point is, look at the SIM tray. The SIM tray, now when you look at it angle on, when you look at it directly on it, it is not that obvious of a difference. But when I took this picture, I didn't even think about looking at it. And typically paint does that when you have two different materials, but this shouldn't be two different materials. These are both aluminum. The other thing you also need to look at is the gap. Look at the freaking size of that gap, and I apologize for dirty fingernails. I took this at work, and I work with servers, so. But yeah, look at the gap on this. This is so huge, and I don't have a comparison image, but if you have an iPhone, look at it. If you don't, go look at stock footage of actual iPhones. Go look at the website. It is not like this. I would take a picture of my iPhone 7 that I ended up buying. Again, I'll get to that. And it's almost, you can't see it, and that's pretty much been the same for all iPhones. I'm not sure about the 3GS and the original, like, first two generations or whatever, but I'm pretty sure that they've gotten this so far down it's not even funny. It's almost like it's not there if it wasn't for this. But you could just see the tolerances in this are extremely off. Even in the buttons and everything like that. I mean, if you really didn't focus on it too much, it would slip right past you. And I don't. Oh, come on, go away. I don't think that there's anything else that you're really going to be able to see over here. But the color, the gaps, it's off, really off. Okay, so this is almost my definitive proof. So this is my new. So I need to. Okay, after I talked to the tech said, yeah, even if this was under warranty, we would just flat out replace your device. I said, okay, cool. I don't have a warranty on it still through Apple, obviously, because it was a refurb. And so with that, I basically said, you know what, screw it, it's time to upgrade. I have to have a phone. I'm like always on call for work. And I need to be able to answer my freaking phone. And I can't do that if I can't use the screen. So with that being said, I just bought a new phone and figured, screw it, spoil myself, a little bit behind, whatever. So this is the iPhone 7 that I bought. And as you can see, I got my serial number. I got most of this blacked out because, yeah, I don't even know what the ICC ID is, but yeah, whatever. Modem firmware, that's irrelevant. Here's your model number, so you can look this up and you'll find that it's a iPhone 7. I don't know if this will give you the color, but Apple does that for you. Carrier, AT&T, right, whatever, iOS version, whatever. Storage, yeah, it's a 32 gig, whatever. 70 apps, yeah, I'm an app whore. I'm sure some of you guys have a lot more. But when you take this serial number, which again I grayed out, and you go and you run it on their system, it shows you, hey, look, I have a black iPhone 7. Okay, and there's the D, N, and F. But typically when you have a computer, the first two octets of a MAC address for a Wi-Fi antenna or Bluetooth typically refer to the vendor of who made the chips that you're using. So sometimes it might say Realtek, sometimes it might say HP, stuff like that. Now, when I type in the first two octets there, which is B853, and you do a quick search on it, I did this earlier and I swear to God it worked, but yeah, B853. Oh, I think you have to have the first three. Crap. Yeah, and that's what I did earlier is I looked up three octets, and it showed it to me. So B853, and screw it, I'll just tell you the other two because I'm pretty sure it's just going to be the same for everybody. Okay, so here's a basic website that does some lookup stuff, and that is, you type in, I guess you type in your Mac here. I just Googled it, but this page came up. Now, B853AC is the first three octets of this MAC address, and it tells you it is Apple Inc. End of story. Now, and we'll get to the other side here, but just the fact that this matches the other phone, Apple's, like I said, they're anal retentive when it comes to details. They're going to make this show your phone, your color, your exact device. They're not going to show you a different color or anything like that. They're going to be exact. You can try it with yours. I don't have the link, but just look up the Apple check coverage serial number and you'll find it. But yeah, it shows your exact device, your exact color, everything. It goes off their database. This is the device, the 6 Plus, and it has a slightly different serial number. It starts with an FK, which I think stands for fake, and it has a bunch of other stuff. Now, when you run this, it comes up as a rose gold or red. I don't know, because I didn't have a white one. I had a space gray. The front was black, which tells me two things. One, the chassis was modified. And as you've seen in the pictures, all of these, yeah, it certainly looks like it was modified with unoriginal parts. If they would have used Apple parts and I found that out later, I wouldn't have cared. But that's the net result, is that it's not the same phone. Um, but with that being said, let's go back and look at the MAC address. It's DBBB2C. So we're going to type those in. DBBB2C. And it would help if I did not put quotes and put semicolons. That's really bothering me now with the fact that I don't know the difference. Okay, so now if I do a search for those devices, we have no idea what the hell they are. They're not an Apple device. And yeah, I'm going to move this over. And a lot of times the reason why that is because people can spoof these in code or something like it. And yeah, when I even type in, and you probably can't see this on screen, thank God, but not like it matters. I typed in the whole one, all 6 octets. Doesn't show up at all. This does not register as Apple device, so we have no idea what the hell is in this phone. You can also see it's obviously got different modem firmware than the first one because obviously this phone's brand new. This phone's been out for quite a while. It's still got the same carrier, different model. You can look it up. It's a 6 Plus space gray, not hiding anything. The one thing that I did find interesting with this device is that if you look at the IMEI in the software, let me go back a couple frames here. I gotta find the right. Where's the? Okay, so the IMEI. So this is the legit one, and then this was mine. So it matches the chassis. Now, why would they leave this blank? Well, probably because it's etched after the fact. Or they etch it and then they go back and somehow reprogram the IMEI to that. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what they did. But either way, I smell, with all of this, some seriously fishy stuff. I figured this out yesterday, about a little more than 24 hours ago. I sent an email to Ashurion saying basically, you got 3 days to email me before I escalate this. But I was too impatient, so I called AT&T. Well, I tried calling Ashurion directly, but it passed me to AT&T. Told the guy my story. The guy was super cool about it, which, thank God, AT&T, somebody there. He was even surprised at the fact that the original AT&T store kicked me out of the store, basically saying, not much we can do other than you buy a new phone. And it's like, well, I'm kind of hard up for money right now, just a hair. Just until payday comes around or whatever. I figured it can wait. If I can just get this replaced or just get my actual phone that I'm owed, then I can wait to go get a new 7 Plus, considering they didn't have a 7 Plus. So with that being said, they weren't able to do anything for me. So the guy on the phone basically said, he was surprised that they didn't do anything, that they didn't even take my phone over there. They didn't try hitting the 2 buttons together. They basically just said, you might want to try going to Apple. Went to Apple, they said, well, you might want to try calling Ashurion. And there was this huge ring around the rosy. So the takeaway from this is 2 things. One, your insurance company through your carrier is not going to have your back. Not usually. There's plenty of cases out there where people are doing this. Let me see if I can find the case that I found, and it's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. You can look it up. Basically, just look up fake iPhone scam. Throw in some keywords on warranty, carrier, that kind of stuff. You'll find it. There's I forget. It's somewhere in I want to say Milwaukee. There was a news channel there that covered it. The guy had like a red iPhone 5C, and they covered it, and it was way worse than this. Like the whole phone, if you were to look at the back of the phone, like this font and text was like let me find my pen. So, come on. This edge was like here. And it was way off. Like it barely fit. Like the edge of the phone would have been like right here. and all of this stuff, right, was over there, whatever. But that's kind of how off it was and whatever. It was dead fake. I mean, they really screwed up on that one. And they just sent him a new one and said, don't worry about the other one. Luckily for me, though, AT&T told me, they said, that's screwed up. We believe you. Never heard of it before, but we believe you. The fact that everything's like that, and this isn't, the fact that your LCD just died. Like I had I forget what they said. Like I only had X amount of time frame left on the phone as far as a actual warranty through AT&T, and said, okay, well your screen died. That's unfortunate. So we're just gonna ship you out another one. And I stressed the fact that it had to be legit, had to be 100%, had to be real. And I said, if this happens again, what do I do? They're like, call us back. We'll make it good. I'm like, good. So now I just got to pay the remainder of the device off, and then I'll probably be selling it. So if you see more channels, more videos come up on this channel, the PGH production here on YouTube, you'll know that I'm still fighting a battle of getting my owed phone. I've rambled on enough. This was how I found out my iPhone was not legit, and how you can also look at yours. If you disagree, agree, whatever, send it up or put it down in the comments below. Let's have a conversation about this, because I want to get this out and I want to be accurate with this. I don't want to be spewing garbage. Now, from what I've seen, this is all solid information. If you think otherwise, drop it in the comments below. I'll respond. Sorry I rambled so long. I tend to talk a lot, but I'm going to end this right meow.